but he's tremendously likable. I mean, he goes out of his way. He's closer to Brandon Graham than the average likable person. You know, he's going around the media tent giving fist bumps to every reporter there, even people he doesn't know. Jonathan Gannon, tremendously likable person. Shane
Does he come off like that, though?
Maybe
you
not.
You get to know him a little bit with the cameras off. I'm talking about
maybe not in front of the camera.
Likability, not John McMullen's level likability. I'm asking you to put your own personal feelings aside. It is a joint practice Thursday here on Birds 365. You got your Mac and Mac guys, McMullen and McDonald, with matching black shirts today. I grab a shirt every day and I make sure that it's clean. That's the most important thing. But every once in a while, I forget that we're going to be doing this streaming thing, and I come on with too bright a shirt.
Yeah.
Jody, you're just blowing up. All right, fine. I got to run back up. I said, I'm not even going to take a chance. Give me my first black T-shirt.
That's what I always go dark. I don't even mess with anything else at this point. I tried white. You know, I tried a white shirt because JAKIB Media sent me the white polo shirt, so I put that on one day.
That's nice. Yeah, I never got that.
Well, you gotta lobby for that, Jody. You should have that. But I'm like,
I didn't lobby. I didn't even know it existed.
So, well, I show up at training camp with JAKIB Media gear.
Nice.
But it showed up. I think Tone and I did a football 24/7. I think it showed up okay. But then there are other days it doesn't show up. So I can't figure it out. So I don't mess with it.
So now I'm winded because I had to run up 2 flights of stairs to get myself a black T-shirt to be able to do Birds 365 today. All right, Johnny Mac, we got plenty to do over the next 2 hours, including 2 good guests, 2 very good Eagle Beat guys. Jeff Mosher and Bob Groats are both going to jump aboard with us today. But I want to start in a different vein, something that we don't usually do here on Birds 365, because I'm prepping for the show. I'm writing down some notes, stuff I want to talk about. And I had already written one thing down, and then I read a fun column from our buddy Seamus Clancy from over at Philly Voice. And he touched on something that I realized I don't know that we've ever touched on in a year and change here on Birds 365. He was doing a general recap of covering the entire Eagles training camp and the things you do and the way you go about it and the stuff that you see and the stuff you have to report on. And he said, and this is a very likable Philadelphia Eagles team. And I had not even gone down that mental road to give my evaluation of whether this is a likable team or not. And don't kid yourself, it changes over the course of a given season. I would suggest that in 2017, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, when they were coming out of training camp, I don't know if you would have called them a likable team. Let's start there. You were here. You were covering that team. Carson Wentz's second season, Doug Peterson's second season, had an okay at best first year with both of those guys in key positions. All the guys who were here, some veterans who are still here, key contributors to this team. Do you think, if you can remember, do you think that Eagles eventual Super Bowl championship team was considered a likable team before that year's season started?
I think Doug was considered likable. Doug's a good guy. But I think the quarterback was always a little bit aloof. See, I think likable is about, very few people. Like Brandon Graham is tremendously likable. He was tremendously likable then. He's tremendously likable now. He'll be tremendously likable when he retires. He's just a people person, right? So, the head coach is very likable. The defensive coordinator, he's an old school gruff guy, Jim Schwartz. The offensive coordinator, Frank Reich, very nice man, but not very outgoing.
Did people even know who Frank Reich was in Philadelphia before they won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, they knew because he almost got fired, Jeffrey Lurie.
But people didn't even know that.
Yeah. Well, they
That
should have.
that kind of came out after the fact.
It came out, I think, during the season, but
Okay.
it you know, I think you look at the headliners, and so one of the things, I like Doug a lot. I'm upfront about that. I think he's a good coach. He won a Super Bowl. He deserved an opportunity to stay. Um, and so I disagreed with the firing at the time. And Nick Sirianni comes on board. Nobody knew anything about Nick Sirianni. I didn't know anything, and nobody knew. I don't think Mrs. Sirianni knew that all that much about Nick Sirianni. Was off the radar, out of left field. Um, but he's tremendously likable. I mean, he goes out of his way. He's closer to Brandon Graham than the average likable person. He's going around the media tent giving fist bumps to every reporter there, even people he doesn't know. Jonathan Gannon, tremendously likable person.
Does he come off like that though?
Maybe
You
not in
get to
front of.
know him a little bit with the cameras off. I'm talking about
Yeah,
Eagle
maybe not in
Nation
front of the camera.
level of likability, not John McMullen's level of likability. I'm asking you to put your own personal feelings aside and judge the way that this team is judged by the Eagle fan base.
Oh, the fan base, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, he doesn't come across as likable on cameras off. Same thing with Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen's the nicest guy in the world off camera. On camera, he's very guarded and very a little bit better this year because he's the play caller, so he feels he has a little bit more autonomy to speak about things. But off camera, he's just the nicest guy in the world. On camera, he's very guarded. So, yeah, from the fans' perspective, they certainly get it from Sirianni. They certainly get it from Graham. They certainly get it from the quarterback. The quarterback's very likable, even though he's guarded in front of the microphone, but everybody tells him. So it's kind of, I don't know. They probably don't get to see it, but I think they would say Jalen Hurts is more likable than Carson Wentz, but that might be because of the timing, because on camera, he doesn't come across more likable. He probably comes across, in fact, you can tell me better, Jody. I would say he comes across even more guarded than Carson Wentz came across. I mean, Jalen doesn't say anything. I mean, Jalen is a flat line, just steady as she goes. So I guess that's kind of a difficult question for me to answer. From my perspective, it's a very likable group, and there's always, Derek Barnett's not likable. He doesn't like talking to us. So when you get 90 people together, not everybody's going to be ebullient Brandon Graham.
Right.
You're going to have your, but the main parts of it, they're all tremendously likable people. But I don't know if that comes across on camera. I know it comes across with Nick Sirianni.
Right. The main guys, the needle movers, are always going to be the head coach and the quarterback. And then you proceed down the line, your star players, your coordinators. They're not going to move the needle as much as the head coach and the quarterback are. Again, I'm not an Eagles reporter like you are. You're there every day. You get a chance to see these guys. Sometimes camera off, sometimes camera on. Mic in front of their face, mic off the front of their face. I give Jalen a little bit more in the personality column, I guess, than you would. Carson Wentz, from day one to me, was always boring. Now, there's a slight difference, but a little difference between buttoned up and boring. I think that Jalen Hurts is buttoned up. I thought Carson Wentz was buttoned up and boring. I don't think Jalen is as boring as Carson Wentz. He's not going to wow you with his personality in front of the camera. It hasn't in a year and change. Don't know if that will ever change, but I'll give him more in the personality column than I work Carson Wentz. And then you get everybody else and all the other personalities. And you're right, Brandon Graham is kind of the leader of the clubhouse, has been. Shoot, you go back to that Super Bowl team and say he was that then, and he's certainly that now this year with his comeback.
And I
from
should
the
throw Jason Kelsey in there as well. Different way than Brandon, but very obviously
right.
very likable.
Do you think do you think Jason Kelsey has changed since the Super Bowl winning team?
No, same
Nor
guy.
do I. So if Jason Kelsey is one of the best personalities we've had in Philadelphia sports in 5 years, 10 years, 6 years. So you go back 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. I'll put him with anybody else. Any other sport. Forget about the Eagles. Any other individual personality in Philadelphia in sports, I'll put Jason Kelsey up against any of them. But I would say Jason Kelsey's Jason Kelsey. He was what he was the day he showed up, and he's still the same thing today, only he's got a Super Bowl ring and a picture and a mummer's outfit that no one will ever forget thereafter. So let's dig a little bit deeper to the A.J. Browns, to the, well, see, here's a guy. And I had the chance to actually interact with these guys up close and personal for 10, 15 minutes. Jordan Davis came into our tent, our RV where we did the show for WIP, me and Joe DeCamera the other day. And we got a chance to talk to him for 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes before the interview started. And then after the interview was over and done with, chock full of personality. Landon Dickerson came in before Jordan did and couldn't be a nicer guy himself. And he was a pretty good interview as well. So
now that surprises me. That surprises me. Jordan Davis, yeah, I agree. Landon is very Alabama trained, I like to call it, when it comes to the interview.
You're going to blame Saban for this, huh? The reason that Hurts is buttoned up and
he gives Landon.
It's an Alabama thing, huh?
Landon gives us nothing.
He's
so
good with us.
If you got stuff out of Landon, Godspeed. You guys are doing a good job. Now, it's different when you're in a one-on-one or, in that case, 3-man environment versus 80 microphones stuck in his face.
That's true too.
When he gets on the podium, he's Alabama trained, as I like to call it. And that's not a bad thing, by the way. That's a good thing.
It keeps you from getting in trouble. That's for damn sure. All right. So the bottom line is John McMullen, Eagle beat reporter, good at being able to diverse his own personal feelings with that of the entire
I know what
Bob
Groats is going to say when he jumps
Groats is Mr. Optimism, happy and peppy and bursting with love. Of course, Groats is going to say they're a likable team. But I need you first. Groats is next. John McMullen, before the season starts, is this Eagles team a likable team?
I'm going to say, well, number one, I'm going to say, who cares if they're likable? Number two, sometimes you need some edge to be a really great team. Sometimes you need some of those nasty guys to be a really great team. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. Are they likable? To me, Nick Sirianni is extremely likable. Everybody knows I like Jonathan Gannon, even though he shut me down when you were there, Jody. I like Shane Steichen probably more than both of them, which people probably don't know. So to me, they're very likable, but it doesn't matter. Give me a unlikable, and I don't know because I didn't cover him, but if you have somebody like Ray Lewis who's gnarly, give me that guy. I don't care if they're likable, but the major guys, they're generally all nice people.
I understand and I agree with your sentiment about you got to mix in some nasty guys.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're too likable a team, chances are you're not going to be a good enough team. And don't kid yourself, the entire likability will change of this team with the wins and the losses. If they're 12-5, they're going to be really likable. If they're 5-12, doesn't matter how nice they are, people are going to hate them. And they're going to say they're not likable at all. Why? Because they lose on Sundays. So I readily admit this is all decided by the wins and the losses at the end of the year. But you should be able to get a clean slate when you start a new season. And I would say this is a likable Eagles team. Now we'll see what they do on Sundays for the upcoming year. All right, up next is one of the most likable guys on the planet. It's not even close. He is at the top of the list of everybody's likability roster. That would be Bob Groats, Delaware's own, next here on Birds 365.